Today we're cutting tree guards. It's not a guarded secret, but it will guard your trees from voles especially, and rabbits. So check it out how we do that. First thing, you want to wear gloves. This is a picky, pokey job, and you want to have your hands protected. We bought 4 rolls this morning. Fortunately, they didn't have 100-foot rolls, so we bought 4 25-foot rolls. We set up a little template, so we're using a piece of plywood. We've marked off our measures so we know when we're at the line, the amount we want. And because this is a 3-foot piece and we're doing 1.5 foot guards, I would suggest you do 2-foot guards if you can, but they didn't have 4-foot rolls. So, hey, we'll do with what we have. So then we marked off 1.5 feet so I can start it here and I know where the measure is. And Mathieu's doing so we're doing them at 2.5 feet. And then all we do is we cut and repeat, cut and repeat. Good to listen to podcasts, but definitely want to have gloves on. We've already pretty well ruined our coats because the little pokey lines. And I'll give you a couple of little details that do make a difference. A little detail, when you're cutting with wire cutters, you could run along one of the wires, and you see this way, this is almost a smooth edge. So if you run along the wire, you can get a nice smooth edge. And you don't want everything to be pokey, because then just handling it makes it a lot more dangerous. In the long term, in the protection of your trees. So we cut these, you want to cut them in half. And when you cut them in half, you want as much as possible to leave one side with pokey little wires and the other side too. So we cut between two. This is 1/4 inch galvanized wire mesh. Don't use bigger because bigger sizes, the voles can put their nose through. So 1/4 inch, it's a long term. So this is a do it once, put it around the tree, and it'll be good for the life of your tree. None of this put it on and in 2 years or 5 years it's broken. So it's worth the investment. You do it once for the life of the tree. It is a little tricky how to handle them, so you want to pile them in a way that, yeah, it's easier this way. And then that's it. I'll show you the next step when we go outside to put them on. By the way, today's a bit of a rainy day. It was snowing this morning. It's cold. And you do want to keep yourself some rainy day jobs. Don't do everything on a nice day that you could do inside on a rainy day. So always save your rainy day tasks for a rainy day as much as possible. At least then when it's raining, you don't just sit around and read. We're just going to finish this off and go outside and install. Now, one of the things to install these is it's good to be able to we put wood chips. Go see that video putting wood chips. That was a great thing. But it does gather around the trunk. So Mathieu is just removing the wood chips so that we can actually get a little lower with the screen. And the next thing he does is he rolls it up. And that rolling up makes that the screen now wants to stay in that rolled up shape. See how that's the advantage of wire mesh, is it's wire. It holds a shape. So now you can put it around, unroll it basically, unroll it around the tree. And we measured these beforehand. So we did 2 sizes, 2 feet and 2.5 feet. So So we've used all the smaller ones, now we're at the bigger ones. You don't have to go completely around, but it does a better job. You see how now it goes completely around, and put some of that mulch back. You don't want really too many places that the vole would find it easy to get under the mesh. And even if it does, the mesh should be tight enough around the tree that it doesn't give it a lot of room to move around. We were just discussing the advantage of putting mesh versus poison bait. And go see that playlist about voles last year. And the advantage of this versus doing bare like we had for years and then having to mow and trying to avoid getting too many voles. The advantage of this is we do it once this year. We can leave this whole band here now. We could leave 3 feet easily along the trees unmowed, and that would certainly be a corridor for voles, but it's not a problem. Even if we have voles running around, they're not gonna come in here and get in underneath. A few may, but the advantage of leaving grass and then better solar capture, home for a lot more beneficial insects, the advantage outweighs any of the risk, because there's still risk this way. Even though I mowed and we've done things, we put mulch last year, there's still risk. We see some of the trees already had some damage this year, not girdled right around, but had some damage. So it is a long-term investment, but it's a one time you do it, and it's there for the life of your orchard. A 1/4 inch galvanized wire mesh. It doesn't get any better for tree guard. The only way it's better is if it actually would be 2 feet, and we just didn't have any 4-foot rolls this morning, so I took 2 feet. I took 3 feet, cut it in half, so it's 1.5 feet. But for these old trees, honestly, even if a vole could access here in the winter, that means we'd have that, well, we'd actually have about 6 inches above that of snow. And if we had that much snow, they would chew the branches rather than this old lichen-covered bark. One-time treatment. Sometimes there's no way to completely cover the trunk, or in this case, almost the roots. The dog and maybe something else had dug to the base of this tree. The only thing to do here is actually to fill in this hole. That would be what we'd need to do. And in some cases where it's really an awkward position, we're using zip ties to hold them together. And yeah, zip tie, it's good for many years before that tree kind of gets constricted. These trees haven't grown that much in the last 10 years. So it should be good for 10 years, even with a zip tie. Can smell the mushrooms. Woo! Myceliated. Heavily myceliated. Look at this. Those wood chips are being degraded. White rot fungus. Is there a fungus among us? Now that covers up any exposed part of the base or the root. And it's done. Off to the next tree. Nice things about wood chips is voles really don't like tunneling through wood chips. That's a great advantage. We've got a lot more to go. Got a great start. Get your trees protected forever, for the life of the orchard, for the life of the tree at least. It's a very small investment in time and money, but that will pay dividends for the life of your tree. Intrigued? Check out the virtual tour of the permaculture orchard. Have trees already? Pruningcourse.com. Subscribe, please. Check out some of the other videos or playlists. There's more to come. Stay tuned. Go get your trees protected. Go get your trees protected.